Welcome back to your soon-to-be favorite podcast. I'm Angelica.
And I'm Kelsey.
And this is
Here We Grow.
What's up, guys?
What's up? Where do we start?
Wow. Well, we won't bog you down with, our week or what we just did, because there's more serious things to talk about.
Yeah, I think everybody knows it's been a hard week.
Yeah.
And probably hardest it's ever been in politics, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a good quote of the week, though.
Okay.
It says, and that quote. That's loud, so sorry. It's a video. Okay. What if thoughts are rooted in fear and helplessness? Next time you get a what if thought, shift it to even if. Even if this happens, I'll figure it out and get through it. I have gotten through 100% of my hardest days. Not even a worst case scenario will crush me. Notice how much more empowering that feels.
Ooh, nice.
Thought that would be fitting for today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of things are a mind shift.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's hard to, mind shift on the things that are happening.
Yeah.
Today and age. But we're not here to put on any brave faces. I told Kelsey that. I was like, you know what? We're not here to tell you, oh, but look at the bright side. Like, we're not going to do that. We're just as scared and concerned as everyone else, I'm sure, that listens.
Yep.
It's been very disheartening and disappointing.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend this morning about this, and something I realized is that his last presidency in 2020, the argument between two parties was a lot like Democrats saying, this guy's a really bad guy. Look at all the things he's been accused of. Look at all the things he says about people. Like, he's a bad guy. Why would you want him as the president of the United States? And people on the other side would say, well, he's good for us fiscally. He's good for America financially and economically.
Wow.
So at that point, you're like, okay, well, they have a point in one way, because you're like, okay, I guess if you wanted to vote for just financial whatever for the United States, fine. But, the Democratic side of it was still like, okay, but you still need someone to lead who's going to make a good example for the country that you want to see for your children. And so in that presidency, he didn't make a lot of policy changes that, not a lot of policy changes that would affect people and hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a few, but not a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this presidency, in just the 5 days he's been president, has already tried taking down so many policies that will actually hurt people, kill people, rip families apart. And it's such a big difference from his 2020 presidency already.
Well, two things. What happened in 2020? The pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of stuff that was playing, unfortunately to say this, in his favor.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the price of gas went down because no one was on the street.
Mm-hmm.
So gas stations could definitely lower their prices.
Yeah.
The price of groceries, there was barely any barely any groceries in the store.
Yeah.
People were losing their jobs because of the pandemic. They weren't blaming it on the presidency.
Yeah, well, and now that I think about it, I said that his presidency in 2020, but it was the 2016 to 2020 presidency that I'm thinking about.
Yeah. And then, now, I forget what the group is called, but now that Republican group has had time to come up with this Project 2025. Mm-hmm. And literally like, word for word.
They're like, oh, look how much control we had over last term that we served. We could quadruple that. Look how many followers we got off that last term.
Scary.
Really scary.
I was listening to Dark History of Bailey Sarian.
Mm-hmm.
So like she talks about corporations or just events in history that have happened
Mm-hmm.
here in the US.
Yeah.
Even just as recent as like 50 years ago, where there was massacres
Mm-hmm.
and the government kicking people out of their homes and taking over land and all that scary stuff. So I'm listening to her, right? She was recording this back in like 2021 or 2023, and I'm listening to all this. I'm like, oh my God, what if that happens?
Yeah.
What if that happens again?
Yeah. We were just talking at the table and I said, crazier things have happened. And then I'm like, honestly, yeah, crazier things have happened. Like, the world we live in is becoming something that it doesn't surprise you when it happens. Crazy things that happen do not surprise you anymore. And that's scary.
And that's why I don't know if I want to have kids. Truthfully, one of the bigger reasons.
Yeah.
Because what kind of world are they going to live in? And don't get me wrong, I'm sure every generation had their own worries of their own kids. Like, oh, what kind of world are they going to live in?
Really, what kind of country are they going to live in? Because we're raised to believe that America's the greatest country on earth, but I think it's coming out that that's not necessarily true, especially now in today's age.
Absolutely.
What were you about to say, though? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, just that. I just don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. And that's very unfortunate. I just don't know anymore. Because even, we're going to talk about some policies, even though it's crazy. Because I've always said, like, okay, well, even if he does pass this or even if he does pass that, it won't affect my daily life. But it will.
Yeah.
And now I'm seeing, like, oh my God, like, and it doesn't even matter if it doesn't affect me. Right. It affects people that I care about.
Right. I think that's one of the biggest issues we're having right now is that the people who voted for him don't care if other people's lives are destroyed. They don't care. They only care if their life is faulted in any way for anything that happens, and it won't.
Right.
And something I was thinking about on the way here was like, I've never, from this week alone, I've never been so pained by anything in politics until now. Not even the turnover of Roe v. Wade until now.
Right.
Because it's almost like hit after hit after hit.
Yeah. Every time I would get on social media, I'm like, I
Something
can't.
else. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't. I just can't read this right now.
Yeah. And so it's like, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying before that?
It's just so disheartening watching something or watching it go from back to back to back, hit back to back.
And like realizing that even though like it is affecting me a lot and it's making me really upset and sad for people. And this is coming from a white person who only a couple of things will actually affect me. Only the things that specifically relate to women may affect me, and that might not even affect me. Mm-hmm. Like Roe v. Wade probably won't affect me.
Right.
But it still sickens me. And so then I'm thinking, like, if I have this much compassion for the people that are getting stripped away from their families, are getting, may not be able to have equal rights, equal opportunities in jobs, equal opportunities in schools, so on and so forth, how can other people not feel that way? Mm-hmm. I cannot compute other people not feeling that way. I just can't. Where does it come from? Where's the psychology in which the economy is more important to you than human lives?
Right.
It's kind of like when we talked about like, we talk about like sociopaths and narcissists and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, some of them, most of them all grow up with really bad backgrounds, but there's plenty of people that grow up with bad backgrounds that don't become narcissists. Mm-hmm. Where's the disconnect? Where's the switch? Because you can't explain this behavior. You can't explain this mindset. It's unexplainable. Other than saying they're in a cult.
Yeah, and it's just been crazy too, like watching people who were so supportive for Trump before the election. Like they were all for whatever, the cheaper price of eggs or whatever. Mm-hmm. And now that all this is happening, I've checked their profiles and they've said nothing.
Not a single thing.
Not a single thing, except for today. There was one guy that I know where he was all about, Trump 2024 or whatever. And he's a mixed kid. Like, he is half African American, half white.
Mm-hmm.
And, despite everything that Trump has been wanting to pass this past week, the only thing he posted about was something about like Trump making Bitcoin more valuable or something like that. Getting rich off of Bitcoin.
I think maybe there's a pool of people out there that support Trump that think that they can be Trump.
That's disgusting.
That they can be Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And that Trump's going to get them there. They
Such
have this like
idiots.
delusional thought that they'll be able to make it to where Trump is. And
Yeah.
then Daddy Trump's going to take care of them.
What the hell?
Daddy Trump's going to make sure they become rich. Off
You're
of
an
his tax plans.
Idiot, dude. You're an absolute idiot. It's like these get rich schemes.
Yes. It's like an MLM.
Yeah. Like, what do you think is going to happen?
We're all out here just trying to make it by, like, take care of ourselves and each other and our mental health. And there's people over here like, fuck everybody else, make my taxes cheaper, make my eggs cheaper. Which, by the way, eggs are 3 times the price right now because of the fucking bird flu. I'm still holding my middle finger up.
That you cut.
I bought a 12-pack of Walmart eggs last week. 12 regular large Walmart brand generic, like cheapest you can get eggs. $4.78
Holy moly.
last week. And I read because of the bird flu, like they're in low supply and the demand is high. So
Right. Yeah. The fact that you could Google that and figure that out so easily, why can't other people do that?
Yeah.
Why they just got to blame it on the president?
Like, I think back to like his old presidency versus now, people can't say, well, he's good for America fiscally because.
Are you nuts?
First of all, are you nuts? Because that's not true. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to run a country. He doesn't know how to run finances for a country. He doesn't even know how to run finances for his own businesses that went bankrupt multiple times. Okay? So that's already out the window. But 2, if you're still going to say, okay, he's better for the economy, blah, blah, blah. He's going to make the economy better. Okay, at what cost? You have no idea, or what's the word I'm looking for?
Experience?
No awareness of the cost of these things.
Oh, right. Sorry. I was like, what is she talking about? Yes.
You have no awareness of what the cost is for people around you, but no, they don't because they don't care.
I was gonna say, yeah, they don't care. I was going to say part of being a good leader is knowing how to delegate.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, we'll talk about his delegates.
Yeah, like he's putting people in charge of certain programs or departments who literally have no experience in it.
Yeah, I mean, Ed McMahon's wife.
Like what?
Dr. Oz, who's been like under backlash in the recent years for spreading misinformation.
It's literally so crazy.
It's like, ooh, which celebrity do I know who I can appoint? It's like picking people in a basketball team that don't know how to play basketball, but it's just because I know them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's like, when are we gonna? I don't know.
Oh, you know what it's like when you're a little kid and you're playing MASH and you have to decide the 4 options for your husband. And you can't pick the person you're going to marry who's qualified and who's going to be a good fit for you because you don't know who they are. So you pick Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp, because they're just like people you know. Like, don't get me started.
Yeah, where did the lines blur from like celebrity, like quote unquote celebrity to politician?
Yeah. Another thing, speaking of lines blurring, is like, and maybe this is my whiteness and like being a child that doesn't know any better in the world or wasn't paying attention, but correct me if I'm wrong, anybody listening, racism is worse now than it was when we were in middle school and high school. Since Trump has come into the political scene, racism is worse now than it was before he came into the political scene in 2016 or 2015 or whatever. So please correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I actually tried to look up statistics on it earlier today, but it's very understudied race relations. But maybe racism is just as bad and has always been just as bad, but people are more confident to use it.
Absolutely.
People are more confident to say what they feel and say what they think.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be, because you can get canceled real quick. You can get shunned, fired real quick for saying shit. But how are they more comfortable and getting away with it?
Social media.
Yeah, that's true.
Behind the keyboard.
Majority of racism that you see in the world today is on social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in person.
Mm-mm.
I mean, yeah, it is some in person.
Yeah,
but
for sure. But because of social media and because of Trump, it's just been the surge.
Yeah. I think another big issue is that a lot of people, not all, because we've had some surprising, interesting people that we didn't know supported Trump that are very shocking that support Trump, but a lot of the people that support Trump are just generally uncultured. They have not been subject to other cultures. They have not experienced other cultures. They have only experienced whiteness their whole life, and that's all they know. So when Trump gets on the microphone and says, we need to make everyone who has brown skin othered, which he wouldn't say that blatantly. Maybe he would. Who knows? That wouldn't be fucking surprising at this point. But he wouldn't say it blatantly. He would say it in ways of like, illegals are criminals. They're coming in here with their drugs and they're caught, doing all these crimes or whatever. That's othering brown people. So when a white person who's only experienced whiteness encounters brown people, that's all they know. Is that they are other.
Mm-hmm.
They're less than. And if I keep them other and if I keep them less than, then I am more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so sick. There's not another word for it. It's so fucking sick. You don't have anything to say about that?
Well, I was going to say there's a group of people like that. And there's a group of people who are, for example, Mexican American,
Mm-hmm.
that people that I personally know,
Mm-hmm.
whose parents are from Mexico, whose
Mhm.
parents came here, quote unquote, the illegal way,
Mm-hmm.
and they were born here in the U.S., who were for Trump. And it just blows my mind. It's
Yeah.
like, what?
Literally
it does not
his first
compute.
week, enacting that was about to be the wrong word, ICE. Enacting ICE in the first week and trying to strip birthright citizenship. How? If you knew that was in the plan, how would you support that?
And this person specifically that I'm talking about, like, I mean, I'm talking about multiple people, but one specific person like that, they were posting all week about, ICE raids are here, or, this city or this town, or what to do if you see ICE, like putting all these like tips. And I'm like, you were
voted
just
for this.
like,
Yeah.
huh?
You are pro this.
You were pro this. This is what you voted
wanted.
for.
Right. When things were coming out this week that really upset me, like taking down the reproductive rights website and trying to take down the equal opportunity.
Oh my God, a girl, I seen the post that said that about the reproductive rights website,
Mm-hmm.
and a girl commented, and she was like, well, that's because they took it off the federal level. You can still get resources on the state level. And it's like,
That's not
you're
the point.
missing the point.
The whole point is they're reducing access to healthcare.
Right. And something that I wanted to mention that I completely forgot until now. I think a lot of the TikTok ban went over a lot of people's heads.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that a government can censor what we have access to.
Exactly.
What we can see.
Yeah.
There are many other countries who do that to their people, and we have wars with them.
China has a different version of Facebook. restricted version of Facebook.
Do you guys not see what's happening here? That's the bigger issue.
And you know what? It's not available in the App Store, and I have a few theories for that. My main theory is that if it were in the App Store, you'd be able to see who owns TikTok.
Oh.
That's my biggest theory. Other than that, I think they wanted to limit it to whoever didn't delete it off their phone. Like whoever's addicted to it the most.
You remember Flappy Bird?
Mm-hmm. I was saying they should bring back Vine now. But
yeah, so like
this was a power move.
Absolutely. And if a government has the power to ban an app from everyone's phone, from essentially the media, why don't they work that hard to take down child predators?
Sex trafficking rings.
What the hell? We clearly have the
School
resources
shootings.
to do it.
Homelessness.
Right. Solve these other actual issues.
Right. So let's talk about that. Why TikTok's not an actual issue. A lot of, if you look at the press conferences, like between...
Oh my God.
The representative from... He's from Singapore, which, by the way, one of the... I don't know if they were congressmen's representatives or whatever. The American people that were in this meeting, when he said he was from Singapore, the guy goes, "Where's Singapore? I've never heard of that."
Bruh.
This is what we're talking about, uncultured. You can't say America's the greatest country in the world if you don't know about any other fucking countries.
Wow.
Are you living in a glass bowl?
Oh my God.
And all you know is what's in this glass bowl?
Yeah, one of the questions was like, if I use TikTok, does that mean I have to be connected to the home Wi-Fi? Does it have access to the home Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, well, yeah.
Yeah. But he thinks that means that TikTok can hack your Wi-Fi.
Right.
It's like any internet service you use is access to your Wi-Fi.
I love
Facebook,
the way he answered the
Instagram.
questions.
Yeah.
He was kind of like, well, duh.
He's like, is anybody seeing this? Like,
are you guys stupid?
If they thought Americans were dumb before, you really fucking think it now.
My God.
But here's the thing. It's two things. These old white men not knowing what the fuck they're talking about. They're getting too old to be in office. And two, it could also be a cover for the real reason they want to take down TikTok, which is because they want it to be owned by Meta. Yeah. Because the government can have their hands in Meta.
Right. They want the money. It's making way too much money.
Makes me really want to get off of Facebook and Instagram.
I know.
That's hard.
It is hard. Another thing that I saw was an interview from one of the congressmen. I don't know what his name is because that's the sad part is I don't care. I don't care to know their names because they're all fucking idiots in my book.
So dumb. Low IQs.
Where they asked him like, "What do you believe in?" and or like, "What are your thoughts on abortion or whatever?" And he was like, "It's unconstitutional and it's bad to get an abortion and blah blah this and blah blah that." And she asked him a question of like, "Oh, what do you think about?" It was something so something so stupid and trivial, like something about a woman being on her period, right? Or like, oh, like what kind of pad or something. So I forget what the question was, but it was something so stupid. And he started laughing. He was like, "Oh, you're gonna have to ask her about those questions. I don't know anything about that. I mean, I'm not the one carrying the child, so I don't know."
I saw this. She asked him, what do you think would urge a woman to have an abortion? What do you think the reasoning would be behind a woman having an abortion?
You're right.
And he gets flustered and he's like,
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I've never had to think about that before.
Exactly. So shut the fuck up.
Oh, brother in Christ. You just answered your own life questions.
My God, you've never had to think about that and you never fucking will.
So why do you have an opinion about it?
Literally, shut up. Oh my God. Literally, I've decided today that anytime a man asks me anything about his appearance is like, "Hey, that's your body, your choice." Right? So it's like, "Hey, do you like my haircut? Hey, your body, your choice." You like it, I love it. You know what I mean? Like just make it like, "Hey, your choice."
No opinion.
No opinion.
Yep.
Sure, whatever,
Yep.
dude.
Looks like you like it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just completely nuts. That interview, when I saw it, I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like,
Yeah.
it's like we all, not all, clearly.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
I
I
don't
just don't.
understand either.
I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand at all.
I don't understand.
I don't understand at all.
So another thing I talked to my friend about this morning was, I said, it makes me wonder, because she was like, she was saying like,
Okay, can I say something, or did you?
I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Land the plane.
Land the plane. She was saying, there's a chance for a coup to happen, or resistance and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, but when I think about resistance, I don't feel empowered, because I wonder, and I'm scared to know the answer of, are there more Republicans or Trump supporters, more specifically? Are there more Trump supporters than Democrats, than non-Trump supporters? Are there actually more? Because the numbers say that there are. Or is that something else? Is that a scam?
Right.
And she says, I think the question you're asking more deeply is, are there really more bad people in the world than good people? And that's a scary thought. Are there really more bad people in the world, or in America, than good people that want good for their neighbors?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, there probably are. There probably are.
Two things that I want to talk about. One's an easier topic. I mean, they're neither easy topics, but I saw a video where they were comparing side by side, or not side by side, but like one right after the other, of the media talking about Mario Mancini, hot guy. Ooh. Mario.
His name's not Mario. It's like
Luigi. I just remember now because of the joke. Sorry. Luigi whatever,
Mangione,
right?
yeah.
That guy versus how the media talked about Kyle Rittenhouse.
Mhm.
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
They celebrated Kyle Rittenhouse when he crossed state lines with ARs and killed people.
Mm-hmm.
Innocent people in the
blank.
streets. Huh?
Point blank, that we're not doing anything wrong.
Point blank was not self-defense.
Mm-mm.
He had no reason to do that. He committed so many crimes.
Yeah.
He's a fucking murderer.
Yeah.
Versus a man, and I'm not even going to get into that subject because we all know it's very controversial. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
People think he's a hero. Other people think he isn't. But seriously, Kyle Rittenhouse got on to like a press conference of all the Republicans. They had like fireworks going. They had a light show when they brought him on.
How is this okay?
He's a murderer.
How is it okay to celebrate someone who murdered innocent people?
And the CEO, he was not innocent. Okay.
How also, like, how is the television network not reprimanded for this?
My God. That's what I'm saying. It's
Guess
disgusting.
They're not breaking any laws, apparently.
But it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just truly disgusting. So disgusting. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was, I really hate how self-righteous people get when talking about quote unquote illegal immigrants crossing into the country.
Mm-hmm.
When it's like, oh, well, they broke the law. Motherfucker, like you haven't broken the law.
Mm-hmm.
Like you haven't smoked weed. Like you haven't sped. Like you haven't driven drunk.
This is the same argument when George Floyd happened. And people were like, well, he broke the law. Okay, you break the law all the time. Should somebody come and sit on your neck until you die?
My God. The consequences not matching. Like,
No.
What?
Yeah. Also, not to mention the history of America. America was built on immigrants coming over, quote unquote, illegally to settle here in the United States. It was built on immigrants. Like, what the fuck? But it all goes back to Trump.
I was going to say, not very good immigrants, though.
Yeah.
Because they also committed genocide.
Yep. Slavery.
Mm-hmm. They literally forced Native Americans out of their homes.
Yep.
They killed them. They raped them. They completely destroyed everything sacred.
100%.
Your ancestors were fucked up.
Yep.
I'm not looking at you, Kelsey, specifically. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
those people who think that way, like,
Yep.
what did your ancestors do?
Yep.
How do you think you got here?
Yep. How do you think you got here? How do you think you got here? You specifically were born here, but would your ancestors who settled here be proud of you for kicking all the immigrants out of the country?
Honestly, probably, yeah.
At this point.
It's so sad.
Yeah. Not to mention, you can go back to an episode we did around the election where we talked about common misconceptions about immigration. We don't need to go over it again, but it's disheartening that literally the country was built on immigration. How do we build a country as big and as plentiful as we have without bringing people from other countries?
Right.
Without the beautiful diversity that we have. I toured Cash's preschool 2 weeks ago, and one thing that I really took notice of is how diverse his school is. Like, there was a kid there with his dad, and his dad had a cowboy hat on. And then, like, the next thing, there was a woman with, like, an African accent talking to one of the people in the office about her kid coming for after-school care. And there's a lot of Hispanic children there. And it's like, this is what I want for my child. Like, I want him to be cultured. I want him to be exposed to other people so that he has compassion for other people. He doesn't just grow up in a bubble of what his only his experiences are.
Yeah.
Like, why is that not the goal? Why is that not the obvious answer?
And also, too, when people say, are like, you know, they should go back and do it the legal way, or why can't they just do it honey, there is no legal way. Do you notice that? Do you know that? Do you know how hard it is?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how long these people are waiting to do it the right way? And how long is too long to wait to live somewhere where there is literally no future?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're fearing persecution?
Oh, yep.
Or like
any kind of violence.
There's so much poverty. You could be dead in the next 5 years.
You can't eat. You can't feed your children. Like
you're not understanding. You're comparing America to these other countries, and it's not the same.
Right.
Why do you think they want to come here?
Right.
Because they're leaving something worse.
Exactly. And if they could just try to put themselves in their shoes, like, okay, what if America got so bad that you're fearing persecution,
right?
That you're fearing violence, that you can't feed your children? What are you going to do? What's your first choice? To run to another country. It's literally what it is. Oh, nope, you need to stay here and wait 6 to 12 months for your immigration papers to go through. And then when you get here, you need to go through testing. You need to change your name. You need to learn the language. You need to do all that before you can get your papers or whatever the process is. Are you going to stay in that country and possibly not be able to feed your kids for the next 6 to 12 months? Or are you going to take action now and feed your family?
Yeah. And the fear-mongering is, well, they're committing crimes.
They're not.
And it's like, actually, statistically, they're not committing crimes because they're so afraid to do anything wrong.
Exactly.
They're afraid of sticking out, so they blend in.
I could probably tell you that if Hispanic people or Latino people are committing crimes, they're legal Americans because they're not afraid of being deported. You know what I'm saying?
There's that
to your
fear,
point.
right?
Yeah.
People don't understand that.
People who came here to better their lives and better the lives of their families are not going to put that at risk by committing crimes.
Yeah.
It's the fact that your leaders, because they want to keep power over you and over everyone else, they have convinced you that all of your problems you can blame on immigrants.
You know who else did that? Hitler to the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to compare us to that because that was seriously so fucked up, right? Like nothing. Well, there have been other instances of genocide, but that's the most
hard to compare.
Yeah, it's hard to compare. That's the most well-known, the Holocaust and everything. I hate to compare us to that. Obviously, we're nowhere near that, thank God. But they thought the same thing too. They didn't think that would happen. And then it did.
Yep. Okay, so I actually have some information about the Constitution.
Lay it on me.
All right. Make sure your mic is turned the right way. The U.S. Constitution, primarily through the Bill of Rights, protects a wide range of fundamental rights. Here's a brief overview. Individual liberties, freedom of religion. Establishment Clause prohibits the government from establishing a state of religion.
Separation of state and church, motherfucker.
You know, in all these cases where people are changing laws based off of religion, why are they not being struck down because they are a violation of the Constitution? I'd like to know the specifics on that. I'm sure they're getting around it somehow. But there is so much on the Republican side that their basis of reasoning for changing policy is based off of Christianism. That's not a word. Christianity. I was trying to say Catholicism and Christianity at the same time. Christianism. Honestly, that's what the new word is.
Christianism.
Why is it not being struck down by being unconstitutional?
Right.
Free exercise clause protects the right to practice one's religion freely. Freedom of speech protects the right to express oneself through words, symbols, and actions. Which we got TikTok taken down for 12 hours.
That's a violation of the Constitution.
One would say that's a violation of the Constitution. Freedom of the press protects the right of media to gather and disseminate information. Freedom of assembly protects the right to gather peacefully and to protest.
That's also been violated recently, in the recent years.
Yep, especially in 2020. Freedom to petition the government protects the right to address grievances to the government. Due process rights. The Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures, which I'm sure are happening all the time. Fifth Amendment protects against self-incrimination, double jeopardy, and the taking of private property without just compensation guarantees due process of the law. Sixth Amendment guarantees the right to a speedy and public trial, the right to an attorney, and the right to confront witnesses. Did you know that speedy trial is subjective to whoever, the judge, I guess? If you try to file that you're not being given your constitutional right of a speedy trial, the judge can say whether or not it was speedy.
Yeah.
Which is insane. There should be a time frame. Eighth Amendment prohibits excessive bail, excessive fines, and cruel and unusual punishment. Other rights. The Second Amendment protects the right to keep and bear arms. The Third Amendment prohibits the forced quartering of soldiers in private homes. Ninth Amendment states that the enumeration of certain rights in the Constitution shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. And 10th Amendment reserves powers not delegated to the federal government to the states or to the states of the people. To the states or the people. Did you hear that there's a senator? I don't know his name because I don't fucking care. That is trying to change parts of the Constitution to make it so that Trump can run for a third term.
Yeah.
Which I read that it'll be shot down. It can't happen because in order to vote for it, it would have to be 2/3 and the numbers don't add up. But
that's scary.
That's fucking
leading
scary.
To dictatorship.
Leading, yes. Give me 6 years and I can dictate this country. You know what I mean? Like,
no, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No, sir.
A bill was introduced in Idaho that would make the firing squad the main execution method in the state. Firing squad. What are we, barbarians?
My God.
For execution. Crazy. Okay, so let's talk about the Nazi salute. The one thing I'll say about this, well, a few things I'll say about this. One, people who are saying, that's not the Nazi salute. He's not doing that. There's no way. Okay, so then a decent person who thinks they've been accused of doing the Nazi salute or was mistakenly doing it would come out and say, I apologize. I was not doing the Nazi salute. I did not mean to make anyone think that I was doing that. I would never do something like that. Instead, Elon Musk has been making anti-Semitic jokes on Twitter.
What's that fucker saying?
There was one that was like, if I see one more Nazi salute tweet, I'm going to explode or something like that. And then he's like, this algorithm sucks, which is funny because it's his platform. Like, it's your algorithm, bro. But this one says, and I don't know what these words mean. Maybe we can look them up after I say it. Don't say Hess to Nazi accusations. Some people with Jesus, I can't fucking talk. Don't say Hess to Nazi accusations. Some people will Goebbels anything down. These are like Jewish words. Stop goring your enemies. His pronouns would have been he, Himmler. Bet you did not see that coming. He posted this yesterday.
He is truly one of the most evil people on the planet.
A lot of people are like, he was in Auschwitz last year. Like, he supports Jewish people, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, I have a black friend, therefore I can't be racist.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
What?
That. And someone came out and said, I was the tour guide for him in Auschwitz last year when he was there. He was totally not interested in anything on the tour. He was talking to his bodyguards the whole time, taking photos for his photo op, but he was not interested. Also, I just remembered something. I saw this video with this lady. I don't know if this is true or not, but this lady was saying that Elon is known for being like very hands-off father with his son, who's like, I'm guessing like 3 or 4. Mm. And so he's like never with him in public, in any of the public eye. And since he's been hanging around Trump and working all this political stuff, he's been seen with Elon a lot more and almost always seated on his shoulders. Sorry. And they were implying in the video that A, he's trying to appear a family man, and B, his son on his shoulders is a literal like bulletproof vest.
Wow.
So that he can't be assassinated.
Deep. I was gonna say, even his own daughter says that was a Nazi salute.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I don't know. It was just, we can sit here all day and, argue with people if it was or was not. But one thing for certain was it was uncalled for.
Yeah.
Completely uncalled for.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Why would you do that?
It doesn't make any sense. It never will. And something I was talking to my friend about this morning was like, of course, he's not going to get online and apologize because his life is not affected by people not liking him. He's a billionaire.
He doesn't care. I have some orders. Cheese Cheetos signed on his first day in office.
Okay.
It's kind of long, so let me see which ones. Freeze federal hiring except for members of the military or positions related to immigration enforcement, national security, or public safety. Restored a category of federal workers known as Schedule F, which would lack the same job protections enjoyed by career civil servants. Review the investigative actions of the Biden administration to, quote unquote, correct past misconduct by the federal government related to the weaponization of law enforcement and the weaponization of the intelligence community. Okay. Grant top secret secretary clearances to White House staff without going through traditional vetting procedures.
Wow.
End remote work policies and order federal workers back to the office full-time. In terms of immigration and the border, bar asylum for people newly arriving at the southern border. Move to end birthright citizenship, which we talked about. which is guaranteed by the 14th Amendment for the children of undocumented immigrants. The president cannot change the Constitution on his own, so it is not yet clear how Cheese Cheeto plans to withhold the benefits of citizenship to a group of people born in the United States. Any move is all but certain to be challenged in court. Suspend the refugee admissions program until such time as the further entry into the United States of refugees aligns with the interests of the United States. So not only are you trying to deport everyone, but you're literally like stopping any admission for other people that need this, that are trying to go about it, quote unquote, the legal way.
Right, exactly. So what is the problem if they're illegal or not?
It doesn't matter. It's just because they're
it's
not
brown.
white.
Yeah.
Declare migrant crossings along the U.S.-Mexico border to be a national emergency, allowing Cheese Cheeto to unilaterally unlock federal funding for border wall construction without approval from Congress for stricter enforcement efforts. Resume a policy requiring people seeking asylum to wait in Mexico while an immigration judge considers their cases. Consider designated cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. But he pardoned actual terrorists that attacked the Capitol on January 6th.
Because the quality of their stay at their prisons were not good.
You fuck. You fucking fuck. In terms of gender and diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, terminate DEI programs across the federal government, recognize two sexes, male and female, remove protections for transgender people in federal prisons. When it comes to tariffs and trade, direct federal agencies to begin an investigation into trade practices, including persistent trade deficits and unfair currency practices, as well as examine flows of migrants and drugs from Canada, China, and Mexico to the United States. Assess China's compliance with the trade deal with Cheese Cheeto signed in 2020, as well as the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, which Cheese Cheeto signed in 2020 to replace the North American Free Trade Agreement. Order the government to assess the feasibility of creating an external revenue service to collect tariff and duties, carry out full review of the U.S. and industrial manufacturing base to assess whether further national security-related tariffs are warranted. How about we look into the budget of the military? How about we do that?
Yeah, it's been
How about you make it public?
Years and years and years they've been trying to do that.
Energy and environment. Withdraw the United States from the Paris Agreement, the pact among almost all nations to fight climate change. My God. Declare
for what? What are you saving that money for? For what? Why not just leave it? All you had to do was nothing.
Well, he wants to withdraw the agreement.
Why?
Because
it's not hurting you.
Because they don't believe in climate change.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. Just being
facetious.
Yeah.
Facetious.
Declare national energy emergency, a first in the U.S. history, which could unlock new powers to suspend certain environmental rules or expedite permitting of certain mining projects. Who's going to mine?
Who
are these workers going to be?
Yep.
Attempt to reverse Mr. Biden's ban on offshore drilling for 625 million acres of federal waters. Begin to repeal of Biden-era regulations on tailpipe population from cars and light trucks, which have encouraged automakers to manufacture more electric vehicles. Roll back energy efficiency regulation.
I'm sorry, was he trying to take down the thing that encourages people to make more electric vehicles?
Right.
But Elon Musk makes electric vehicles. Go ahead. It doesn't make any sense. None of it.
Roll back energy efficiency regulations for dishwashers, shower heads, and gas stoves. Open the Alaska wilderness to more oil and gas drilling. Or destroying Mother Earth. Restart reviews of new export terminals for liquefied natural gas, something the Biden administration had paused. Halt the leasing of federal waters for offshore wind farms. Eliminate environmental justice programs across the government, which are aimed at protecting poor communities from excess population. Review all federal regulations that impose an undue burden on their development or use of the variety of energy resources, particularly coal, oil, natural gas, nuclear power, hydropower, and biofuels. And of course, the TikTok ban, consult federal agencies on any national security risks posed by the social media platform, then pursue a resolution that protects national security while saving a platform used by 170 million Americans. Cheese Cheeto ordered his attorney general not to enforce a law that banned the site for 75 days to give the Trump administration an opportunity to determine the appropriate course forward. Okay. Other things, he has tried to withdraw from the World Health Organization. He has tried to rename Mount Denali and the Gulf of Mexico. Ensure that states carrying out to death penalty have a sufficient supply of lethal injection drugs. Fly the American flag at full staff on Monday and on future inaugurations days. Implement the Department of Government Efficiency, the Elon Musk-led cost-cutting initiative. That's interesting. Implement the Department of Government Efficiency, the Elon Musk-led cost-cutting initiative. I'm going to click on that here in a bit. Revoke security clearances for 51 signers of a letter suggesting that the contents of Hunter Biden's laptop could be Russian disinformation. Their goal is to advance the president's Department of Government Efficiency agenda by modernizing federal technology and software to maximize governmental efficiency and productivity. The budget of the service was unknown, and several of the employees were expected to be unpaid volunteers.
So I saw somewhere that Trump's new tax plan is out, and the only people whose taxes will be cheaper are people who make over $300,000 a year. So I ran the math, and only 3.8% of American households make over $300,000 a year. 3.8, okay? 31.7% of Americans voted for Trump. So 3% of the 31% of people that voted for Trump, or 3% of all Americans ever, will benefit from his tax plan. So when people were like, he's going to make my taxes cheaper, are they? Is he?
No.
I don't think he is.
I fucking roll.
But we will never reap the benefits of that not happening because they'll blame it on something else.
They will.
Or they'll forget about it. They won't care about it anymore because they only care about the thing that benefits them at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't have much else.
Well, Project 2025 is not just Trump. We all know this.
Yeah.
The governor of Indiana has tried to get away from no-fault divorces, which is so disheartening again.
Basically, property of women is what it comes down to.
Basically, property of women. Criminalizing birth control and the abortion pill.
Even for miscarriages. Even for when a baby is dying inside of you, you cannot get care for that.
That's literally insane. I have a doctor's appointment next week, and I just want to ask her what she thinks. I don't think is she able to tell me? I don't know.
Maybe. She can tell you what she's willing to do.
And deny children who they suspect are undocumented education. Wow. That's... How
so
about
low.
we get school shootings under control?
Right.
How about we focus on that?
If we're getting in school,
yeah,
let's talk about
focus
the real
on the
problems.
real issue.
It's crazy because you'd think that a bunch of white kids dying would be a big issue, but not when politicians' pockets are lined by the NRA.
Well, not just that, but children aren't working.
Yeah.
They're not feeding the economy.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't benefit off kids.
So fucking fucked up. It's so fucked up. Well, everything's fucked up, guys, and we're not feeling any better about it now that we talked about it. I'll tell you that for sure.
I have a couple other things. cheese, Cheeto, and fascism.
Okay.
I'm sure you guys know who I mean.
Yep.
When I say cheese, Cheeto. I said that early to Mara, and he's like, who? And I'm like, cheese, Cheeto? The one in the Oval Office? There has been significant academic and political debate over whether Donald Trump, Cheese Cheeto, the 45th and 47th president of the United States, can be considered a fascist, especially during his 2024 presidential campaign. Critics of Trump have drawn comparisons between him and fascist leaders over authoritarian actions and rhetoric, while others have argued that Trump is not fascist, but an authoritarian populist, or have accused critics of using the term as an insult rather than making legitimate comparisons. If the shoe fits, bro.
If the shoe fits, yeah.
If the shoe fits. This is actually too much to read, but
Okay.
you get the point. Also,
put your mic up.
I have a list of a look at false and misleading claims made by Trump during his first week back in office. The claim was that in an interview Wednesday night with Fox News host Sean Hannity, Trump said that he, quote unquote, won youth by 36 points. That's false. Former Vice President Kamala Harris won the 18 to 29 age group by 4% percentage points, and the 30 to 44 age group 50% to his 47%. He did win voters over 45 against Harris with 52, comparing him to 47. It's not a lot. Not a big difference. So those who are 18 legally able to vote through the age of 44, I trust you, man.
Yeah.
I trust you hard.
Yep.
It's these old motherfuckers.
Literally. Like, when is it over?
45 and over.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Get out of here, bro. Go to a retirement home.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, literally, go retire. Enjoy your retirement on some retirement land that you won't have to worry about other people, and move on with your life. Stop affecting others that you won't be around to see.
Claim he was asked by Hannity why he pardoned January 6 rioters who attacked the police at Capitol. Trump said, quote unquote, they were treated like the worst criminals in history, because they fucking are.
Yeah, they are.
And you know what they were there for? They were protesting the vote because they knew the election was rigged, and they were protesting the vote. They were not protesting.
No, they were not.
They were storming the Capitol. They
were
hurt people.
They were beating and tasing police officers and pointing their own guns at them.
That is not fucking protesting. That is throwing a fucking fit.
That's rioting.
That's rioting.
That's terrorism.
He noted that some of the rioters engaged with police, but they were very minor incidents.
Oh, yeah.
Facts. Rioters at the Capitol engaged in hand-to-hand combat with police. And many of the rioters were carrying weapons, including firearms, knives, brass knuckle gloves, a pitchfork, a hatchet, a sledgehammer, and a bow. You need that?
And using
to
police
protest?
officers' own weapons on them, such as tasers. One police officer got tased so much that they had a heart attack.
They also used makeshift weapons such as flagpoles, a table leg, a hockey stick, and a crutch to attack officers. One officer was crushed in a door frame, and another suffered a heart attack after a rioter pressed a stun gun against his neck and repeatedly shocked him. One rioter was charged with climbing scaffolding and firing a gun in the air during the melee. The rioters broke through windows and doors, ransacking the Capitol, and briefly occupying the Senate chamber. Senators had evacuated minutes earlier. They also tried to break into the House chamber, breaking glass windows and beating on the doors, but police held them off with guns drawn. About 1,100 of the rioters had been sentenced, with roughly 2/3 of them receiving a term of imprisonment ranging from a few days to 22 years. Before Trump on Tuesday commuted the prison sentences or vowed to dismiss the cases of all 1,500 plus people charged with crimes in the riot. Approximately 1/4 had been charged with assault or physical violence.
It's insane that they were pardoned.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So my grandma, she's a Trump supporter, and I don't really have much contact with her because of that. But on Inauguration Day, she posted a link that was like Trump or Biden pardons his son on his last hours in office. She's like, what a crook. Like, people in her comments were like, yeah, I can't wait to get rid of him. What a crook, blah, blah, blah. Then literally 6 hours later, Trump pardons 1,500 people that actually committed like heinous crimes on America. But that's okay. That he's not a
She
crook
didn't
for
say
that.
anything about that?
Nope. She's been real silent.
I don't understand, right? Because if you're for Trump and you're pro police, how are you okay
Yes.
with that?
Thank you.
How are you okay with that?
This is the Blue Lives Matter group.
That could have been you.
Yeah.
Something similar could happen to you, and Trump will pardon those who hurt you.
Yep.
Those who nearly
Or
tried to kill you.
Or if you have a police officer relative and a bunch of Trump supporters killed your relative and he pardoned them.
Oh my God.
Are you serious? Actually, yes, they're very serious. Which is the worst part.
He's also claimed that we let 21 million people enter the U.S. illegally. That number is actually closer to 10.8 million people. But that's arrests, not actual people. So many of those 10.8 million arrests actually went back to Mexico. So the number is much, much lower.
And over what time frame?
From January 2021 through December 2024.
Okay, so over 3 years.
So he's stating 21 million and it's less than 10.
I'm leaving all those coughs in.
It's okay. That's it. That's all he gives.
All right, well.
I'm thick and tired.
Yeah.
I'm just sick and tired of this. I don't understand how we got here.
Mhm.
It feels like we're going backwards.
We are.
It is. We are going backwards. Unfortunately, it's very sad. It's very disheartening. It feels very hopeless.
Mm-hmm.
And I am truly sorry to those who are feeling fearful, as you should.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that this just continues to fuel your fire for a better tomorrow.
Yep.
Where everyone is treated equally with respect.
Yep.
And care.
And people care that their neighbors have food to feed their children and their neighbors are able to have as much success as them. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's literally what America's supposed to be. If you look at people's visions of what America is supposed to be, that's what it's supposed to be. So everybody take care of yourselves, and we'll post some...
And each other.
Yeah, and each other. We'll post some resources in the show notes, and we'll see y'all for a different topic next week.
I was going to try to end on a good note, stay uplifted or stay strong, but honestly, feel your rage.
Yeah. Feel it.
All right, guys.
See you next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.